Hey everybody, it's your friend and your guy and your favorite power penguin, Gardiner. This video is brought to you as always by my patrons over on Patreon who make this show possible. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my patrons, and I want to give a special shout out to Files Copying. My dude, thank you for your support. It is truly appreciated. If you like what I do here, if you believe in the work that I do, you can hit that like button. It really helps the show out. You can hit that subscribe button if you feel so inclined. And if you're not a big fan of YouTube, you can always head over to LBRY, LBRY.TV/@TheLinuxGamer. Now, I'm going to apologize if you don't follow U.S. politics. This is going to be a little bit about U.S. politics. But I feel like this is relevant to anyone who lives in a democracy or a republic because, you know, technology is great for a lot of things, but the Iowa caucuses shouldn't have played out the way they did. Now, the problem isn't really with the caucus method per se. There's a lot of people who are blaming the caucus method for the reason that we had such a kerfuffle in Iowa for the Democratic primary. But the thing is, while the caucus method is pretty arcane and a lot of people don't understand how it works, that's not really the problem. But for those who don't know, a caucus is basically a sneaker ballot. You either stand in an area that's designated for your candidate of choice, or you sit in an area that's designated for your candidate of choice. Basically, what happens is they take a count, and until one of the candidates is declared the winner, the lower ranked candidates or the lowest ones get eliminated, and all those people that voted for the lower ranked candidates have to choose another person to vote for. It's basically an in-person ranked choice voting system. So truthfully, I don't think it's that bad of a system, but it seems like all the major media outlets are blaming the caucus system rather than the real problem. At least from my perspective, the real problem here is software. Now, this is coming from a guy who loves and uses Linux every single day. My livelihood is computers and technology. I'm a programmer by trade. I also am a YouTuber by trade. So I think it would be unfair to call me a Luddite. And you can call me a Luddite if you will, but just know that this is where I'm coming from as a programmer and a YouTuber by trade. I believe that for voting to actually work, people have to trust it. And the problem is, voting also needs to be anonymous. If a single vote can be traced back to an individual, that person, whoever that might be able to be intimidated because they voted the wrong way. Or there might be businesses that would be able to offer discounts to certain people who voted for the party of the business's choice. We don't want that in a democracy. We want people to be agents of themselves and to vote irrespective of any kind of third-party incentive. So how do you actually do that? How do you make a system where votes are anonymous and also the system is totally trusted? Well, I don't think that there is a perfect system. There's going to be a lot of people who criticize paper ballots as being not trustworthy because there have been attacks that have been carried out against paper ballots. But the fact is, one person with a computer can't change 100,000 votes or swing an entire election if all of the votes were done with paper ballots. It's just simply not possible. But it is possible if a majority of the votes are done electronically. So the problem is computers aren't trustworthy, right? Anyone with any kind of understanding can figure out, I write my answer, I write my vote on a piece of paper, I put it in the box is sealed until everyone with stake in the election can unseal that box and count the votes rigorously. For someone who doesn't understand how computers work, a Google search might as well be a magic 8-ball. That's no slight against people who don't understand computers. That's just a fact. People can't be bothered to understand how a Google search works. People can't be bothered to understand how their phone can understand and interpret natural language into text. I mean, that's just not how people work. Most people don't think about that. Just like most people don't think about how their car works. They're perfectly willing to leave administration of their car up to mechanics. Most people are just as content to leave administration of computers up to people who are passionate about them. I mean, imagine trying to explain to someone who last took a math class 25 years ago how hashing works, how like data integrity works, and explain it to them in a way that they will implicitly trust. That's an example that I took from Tom Scott. It's a great video. Check it out up here. And that brings us to people like us. I mean, people who understand computers, people who know that there should be no trusted party in a computing system. The thing is, it's too easy to swing an election with electronic ballots. It's just too simple. It doesn't matter if you have 100 votes or 100,000 votes or even a couple 100 million votes. It's trivial to write a database query that updates or weights a particular candidate's votes in favor of that candidate. It's just easy to do, and it's easy to hide that as well. It's too easy to fudge an election. It's too easy to fudge the numbers if you have computers involved. Computers, that's what they're good at. They can do it really quick, and they can hide your tracks. I just don't think that it's a good idea. I know that there's going to be people out there who are going to say, oh, but Gardiner, like, there are attacks that you can do against paper ballots. And so, I mean, there's no safe system. And it's foolish for you to not want to have computers involved. But no, the fact is, it takes a lot of time and resources and manpower to change paper ballots. It takes a lot of effort and time and manpower to modify the counts of a paper ballot count. And as it scales, that just becomes impractical to the point where you're gonna be found out if you cheat in an election. The other thing is, these companies aren't trustworthy. If you follow what happened in the Iowa caucus, the Democratic Party paid a lot of money to this company called Shadow Incorporated. And what Shadow did was they created a proprietary, no surprise there, app that people were meant to install on their personal devices. Hello, huge security risk. And the Democratic Party didn't train most people how to use this. Many of the people tried to use it and it failed. And a lot of the people didn't even try to use it because the app was just too weird to use or it was too hard to get a hold of. You couldn't just download this app for some reason or another. It was an absolute disaster. When it was all said and done, the results of this caucus have been challenged to the point where leaders at the national Democratic level have said, hey, we need to do a recanvassing. And what that means is people are going to have to count the paper worksheets by hand anyway. I think that we need to cut out the dangerous middleman, the insecure middleman that's trying to insert itself into democracy. They aren't worthy of our trust. They aren't worthy of our support. But yeah, I don't think there's a single valid reason to incorporate computers into our election. Electronic ballots are insecure. They, whether it's the voting machine, whether it's the transportation of the data to the counting server, whether it's the counting server itself, there are too many ways that this could be attacked, and the attacks have the potential to be catastrophically successful and undetectable. And even if all the software that was used in the chain and all the hardware that was used in the chain was open source, I don't care. I think that it's too damaging. It's not trustworthy enough. And I am vehemently opposed to electronic voting in any way. I think we should have paper ballots. I think we should have human counting, and that should be that. So that's my video. That's what I think about this. I'd love to know what you guys have to say about this. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. I want to thank everyone for sticking around for this video. I know this is about like something political, but I think that no matter what side of the political spectrum you fall on, the integrity of elections should be of the utmost importance, no matter what side you fall on. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. If you believe in the work that I do, you can support this show with a monthly contribution over on Patreon. You can also pick up a t-shirt. There's a link in the description. But no matter what you do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love ya.